Europe built the combustion engine. Germany invented the automobile. Italy gave us Ferrari. France gave us Peugeot. Britain gave us Rolls-Royce. And China. China is about to bury all of them. Not someday. Not eventually. Right now. This year. On their roads. And here's the part nobody in Europe wants to say out loud. They already know it. Let's go back. Not far. Just 2018. Not ready. Not a threat. Those same executives are now lobbying their governments to impose 100% tariffs on Chinese vehicles. You don't put 100% tariffs on something that isn't a threat. You put 100% tariffs on something that terrifies you. That's where we are today. Europe didn't just miss the electric vehicle revolution. They watched it happen. They had every resource, every engineer, every advantage, and they handed the crown to a country they spent a decade underestimating. This is the story of how that happened. Most people in the West still think BYD makes cheap city cars. Disposable. Plastic. Forgettable. They've never seen the inside of a BYD Han. They've never sat in a BYD U9. A supercar that goes 0 to 100 in under 2 seconds. They've never looked at the specs of a BYD Seal and compared it, line for line, against a Tesla Model 3. BYD isn't copying the West anymore. They're building past it. Here's what most people don't know about BYD. Before they made cars, they made batteries. For 20 years, they were the world's largest battery manufacturer. They powered your Nokia, your laptop, your power tools. That's not a side note. That's the entire story. While European car makers were outsourcing their battery supply chains, buying cells from suppliers, hoping the technology would arrive, BYD was building the technology itself. They don't buy batteries. They make them in-house, at scale, at a cost nobody else can match. Their Blade battery technology, released in 2020, changed the safety conversation for electric vehicles globally. It doesn't catch fire the way traditional lithium batteries do. It's lighter. It lasts longer. It charges faster, and it's inside every BYD car sold today. Think about what that means. Volkswagen has to buy batteries. Mercedes has to buy batteries. BMW has to buy batteries. BYD makes theirs. That's not a small advantage. In 2023, China sold 8 million electric vehicles. The entire European Union sold 1.5 million. China didn't just win the race. They lapped the field. Twice. So the question isn't whether China's EVs are winning. The question is, why is Europe still arguing about it? When something threatens your economy, there are two ways to respond. You can compete, or you can build a wall. Europe chose the wall. In October 2024, the European Union imposed tariffs of up to 45% on Chinese electric vehicles, on top of the existing 10% duty already in place. Some models effectively faced a 55% import tax, and yet, BYD's European sales kept growing. Because even with a 55% tariff, a BYD 803 is still cheaper than a comparable Volkswagen ID3. Even with a tariff, that tells you something important. China's cost advantage isn't marginal. It's structural. It's deep. It's baked in. It comes from cheaper energy, cheaper labor in the supply chain, government subsidies that have been running for over a decade, and a battery supply chain that Europe simply does not have. You can delay it, but you cannot reverse it with paperwork. And here's the part that should make European politicians uncomfortable. BYD's response to the tariffs. They started building factories inside Europe. One in Hungary, one confirmed in Turkey. More being announced. Once those factories open, the tariffs become irrelevant. The cars will be made in Europe by Europeans, and they'll still be cheaper than European competitors. The wall didn't stop them. It just gave them time to move inside it. Ask yourself this: if European cars were genuinely better, if the technology was superior, the value was stronger, would anyone need a tariff? Tariffs don't protect quality. They protect industries that can't compete on quality. Think about that the next time you hear a politician talk about protecting European manufacturing. Let's talk about the thing European carmakers least like to discuss. Software. The modern electric vehicle isn't just a car. It's a computer on wheels. The software defines the experience, the interface, the driver assistance, the updates, the way the car learns your habits over time. European luxury brands understand the lure. They understand craftsmanship. They understand the weight of a door closing perfectly. They do not understand software. Chinese EV brands grew up in the smartphone era. Their founders came from tech. Their engineers think like developers. Over-the-air updates aren't a feature to them, they're just how you build products. BYD vehicles ship with a 15.6-inch rotating touchscreen. NIO vehicles receive free battery swaps and automatic software upgrades. And then there's Huawei. Yes, that Huawei. The company America sanctioned for being too advanced. They now power the infotainment and driver assistance systems in a growing number of Chinese EVs. Europe spent decades perfecting the combustion engine. China spent the last 10 years perfecting the electric one. The question is, which decade mattered more? This is the technology gap. And it's widening, not closing. 53, 6. That's not manufacturing. That's mass production. At a scale the West hasn't seen since the Ford assembly line in 1930. If you've made it this far, you already understand this story is bigger than cars. This is about industrial power, economic dominance, the future of an entire continent. Hit subscribe if you want to keep following stories like this. Because what's happening in the EV industry right now is only the beginning. Europe isn't the only front. China's EV dominance is a global story now. In Southeast Asia, the fastest growing car market on the planet, BYD, outsells Toyota in Thailand. In Australia, BYD is now the third best-selling car brand overall. Not the third EV brand. The third brand. Periods. In Brazil, Chinese EVs have taken 30% of the EV market in just 3 years. And in Canada, a country that imposed 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles to protect its domestic industry, Prime Minister Carney just flew to Beijing and agreed to reduce those tariffs in exchange for trade deals. Even Canada blinked. This is what the domino effect looks like, country by country, market by market. The conversation shifts from should we allow Chinese EVs to how many can we take? And America? America is running the highest tariffs of all. 100% duties on Chinese electric vehicles. The stated reason? Protect American jobs. The real reason? Delay a reckoning. At current trajectories, without tariffs, without barriers, Chinese EVs could own 30% of the global car market by 2030. That's not a prediction from a Chinese propaganda channel. That's from Bloomberg Intelligence. That's from Goldman Sachs. That's from the analysts that car companies pay millions to listen to. The wall isn't a long-term strategy. It's a pause. Every time a new industrial power rises, the old one doesn't believe it until it's too late. America didn't believe Japan would dominate electronics. Japan didn't believe China would dominate production. And now Rupa, the continent that invented the automobile, that gave the world Mercedes, BMW, Ferrari. Porsche doesn't want to believe that a country that barely had a car industry 20 years ago has just rewritten the rules of the game they created. But belief is irrelevant. The numbers don't care what you believe. 8 million EVs sold in China in 1 year. BYD outselling Tesla. Globally, European tariffs failing to slow market penetration. Chinese factories being built inside Europe right now. This isn't a threat on the horizon. It's already here. So what does this mean for you? It means the car you buy in 5 years might come from a brand you can't name today. And it means the greatest automotive shift in 100 years isn't happening slowly in a boardroom somewhere. It's happening right now. On the roads, in the sales figures, in the silence of European executives who have run out of comfortable answers. China didn't ask permission to win Tay, who's to want. And the only question left is, how long before the rest of the world admits it? If you want to understand the machines reshaping this world, the cars, the power, the technology, nobody explains clearly. Subscribe to AutoNexus. And the next one is going to surprise you.